Hey everybody, Mr. Youngman here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the editing portion of the self-portrait assignment for my Introduction to Media Arts class. We're going to go ahead and get started by finding our folder on our desktop. We'll double-click on our folder to open it, and then we'll go to our self-portrait folder, or locate wherever you have those photos from the photography assignment on your computer. In this case, I have them located under my images folder. And if I just click on a photo at random here, I can click spacebar to see what that photo looks like. I'm going to go through and find the photo I want to use for the editing portion of this assignment. And I think I'm going to use this one right here. And I've selected this one ahead of time, and I like it because I have a lot of nice open space on the right here for us to add in our text. I'm going to go ahead and press spacebar to get rid of the full screen preview. Just in case I didn't say it, I'm able to move through these photos using the up and down arrows on my keyboard to find the photo I want to use. And again, I'll press spacebar to get rid of that. Once we find the photo that we want to use, we're going to open Adobe Photoshop by clicking on the search bar icon at the top right, this magnifying glass, and searching for Photoshop. Be careful with the spelling here. If we don't spell it correctly, it will not come up in our search results. I'm going to click on Adobe Photoshop 2021 to open that up. And it's going to take just a moment here to load up. Depending on which computer you're using, this might go a little faster or a little slower. Now that Photoshop has opened, I'm going to go to Create New on the left. And in here, we're going to type in 1920 for the width. And we just want to make sure that this is set to pixels in our drop-down box to the right. And for the height, I'm going to type in 1080. Lastly, for our resolution, we'll type 72. And we want to make sure this is set to pixels per inch, or pixels/inch. For our final step here, we'll go to color mode and make sure we have RGB color selected. After we have confirmed all our settings are correct and all of this information is on Google Classroom, we will go ahead and click Create. Now my screen loaded a little bit large here, so I'm going to change my sizes of my windows just to tidy up a bit. If I put my mouse on the top left corner and click and drag, I'm able to resize this window. If I hold on the title bar at the top, I can slide to the top left to get it into this corner. And lastly, I will grab the bottom right, drag that down to make it a little bit bigger. And this is just making sure that I can see every side of the program here, so it's going to be nice and easy for us to work with. At this time, I'm going to go down to Finder and open up the Finder. And we're going to grab that photo that we had selected earlier. In this case, I have my example portrait already selected. I'm going to drag this onto Photoshop and just let go. And once we do this, it will be brought into Photoshop. I'm going to go ahead and slide this over so that we don't see any white space on one side. Then I will grab this top right corner, hold Shift on my keyboard, and just slide that until the whole thing is filled up. I'm going to press OK. You might see that we have a little bit of a problem here where we're cutting off the top of my head. That's not good, and that's not what we want. I'm going to make sure we have our Move tool selected. That's the top left one right here. It looks like a cross. And I'm just going to hold down my mouse and slide the picture down a little bit, so that we're not cutting off the top of our head anymore. Our next step in this editing process is going to be creating some text. So we're going to go to the text tool. It's this T icon on the left. And if we hold down on it, we want to make sure we have the horizontal type tool selected. With this selected, we can click on our Photoshop document. It will automatically put in some placeholder text, and that's okay. As long as it's lit up, we can still change it. We're going to put in one word that describes us right here. One word that describes me is silly. I like to think I am very silly in my classroom. I'm going to go ahead and click the check mark at the top here. And that's going to save our words that we have put into Photoshop. We're now going to go back to that text tool, and we're going to click somewhere else on our blank space here. And we're going to create some new words again. In this case, tall. Tall is a word that describes me as well. And we want to have a total of 4 of these words that describe us. So I'm going to add a few more here. In this case, I will write caring. And these should be words that describe you. So some of these words might not be a good fit for you, and that's okay. These should all be words that describe you. I'm going to make one more here. And I'm going to say that I am teacher. Sure, why not? Now, if I'm looking at this, I can say that caring and teacher seem like they're really, really close together. And we might want to consider moving those and spreading them out some. If we want to spread them out, we'll switch back to our move tool at the top here. Click on caring in our layers panel. And we can move that somewhere a little bit better. So something like that. And I might move teacher up a little bit as well. Something like that. And I'm just clicking and dragging with my mouse to move that around. Lastly, I'm going to add in my name at the bottom. So I'll switch to that text tool again. And we'll click on this blank space at the bottom. And we're going to write our name. And I'm going to do all capital letters because we should take pride in our name and take pride in who we are. I'll click on this checkbox at the top to save those words. Switch back to my move tool here. And I'm going to slide this down so it's kind of on its own and looks a little bit better. If our words aren't big enough, we can make them bigger pretty easily. I'm going to start by double clicking on this T next to where it says my name. Then I'm going to put my mouse on these 2 T's at the top and hold down and slide it to the right to make it bigger. Or if I slide it to the left, it will make that smaller. So we'll go ahead and make this nice and big. And we want to make sure all of our words are big so they're easy to read. Our next step here is going to be adding blending options to all of our text. Blending options are a way that we're able to make things look nicer inside of Adobe Photoshop. One little shortcut we can take though is if we go to Window at the top and we scroll down to Styles, we have a few presets that have already been made for us. I'm going to start just by looking through our options here, maybe starting with natural, and see if any of these look kind of cool to us. Then I'm going to select one of our text layers and click on one of our layer styles. And you'll see that this changes the style depending on what we select. So maybe I like this one that looks like grass. It's kind of natural. So I'm going to scroll down to my next one where I have teacher. Once I select teacher, I can go ahead and choose a different layer style, and you'll see that it made the word teacher look different. We're just going to go through and apply a different style to each of these words just to make them look a little bit more special and a little nicer. And I've done a lot inside of the natural space, so maybe I want to try one that's fabric. And I'll click on this one to make it look kind of fabric. We'll go down to silly and apply maybe this golden one. But I encourage you to look at all the different options and see if there's any that you really like. Like maybe I like this zebra one for the word silly. Once we've put on all of our settings here, we're going to be heading into the home stretch. It's really important to make sure that we save every now and then so we don't lose our work. To save, I'm going to go up to File at the top and select Save As. Then I'm going to select Desktop, locate my name or the folder with my name on it. I'm going to click on self-portrait. You may or may not have this folder. It's going to be very important that we give this a name. So at the top here, I'm going to type in my name, self-portrait, just so I know what it is. I'm going to go ahead and select on the format and make sure we have Photoshop selected. And we're going to go down to save and then OK. Lastly, we're going to go up to File at the top, go down to Export, select Export As, and we'll make sure that we have this set to JPG or JPEG. Then we're going to click on Export. We'll go to Desktop, find our folder with our name on it, go to Self-Portrait, and we will select Save one more time. After we export our photos as a JPG file, we're going to want to submit our assignment on Google Classroom. Unfortunately, as a teacher, I do not have a good way of demonstrating this process, but if you need help, come talk to me and I will be happy to help you out during class. That's going to do it for this one. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all back in class. Bye now.